candidate is Branden Durst, who's running for Superintendent of Public Instruction. I knew very little about Branden when the campaign was all first started, so I did my own research, and the most important thing I can say about him, he was on the wrong side for a while, but he's seen the light, and he's a constitutional conservative Republican now, and he deserves your attention, and so here's Branden Durst.
Thanks, John. So, I gotta say, I was really excited to wait for the pie. But that guy likes pie. That's right. No shame in that. By the way, the one with the caramel apple, I was told, has got a COVID-19 vaccine in it. So don't touch that. So I just want to, first off, what I want to just say to, as candidates, we go all over the state, do all sorts of events. And I just want to tell Dale and the others that this is the best Jefferson-Madison event that I've been to this year. But I also want to let Dale and others know this is the worst Jefferson-Madison event that I've been to this year. So seriously, this has been great. We had the opportunity, there's another event going down in Elmore County today. But I was, when given the opportunity to choose between being in Elmore County and being here, this was really a no-brainer. And I'm being serious about that because I feel so much more at home when I'm in the Pacific time zone with all of you, because I figure the further north you drive, the prettier it gets and the smarter the people are. And so, now that I've ingratiated all of you, let me talk about my campaign. My name's Branden Durst. I'm running for State Superintendent of Public Instruction. And my campaign is really focused on the idea that we have to get back to trusting parents again. It's really that simple. You know, I, as a parent of five, as a dad to 5 kids, I just can't believe how much we've changed as a state in the last, yes, sir.
We need to get back to the schools working for the parents and
We're
not
gonna,
the other way around.
you got it. That's exactly the idea, right? And that's, I look at what's happened, and that's just where I was gonna get to. Parents are told they can't enter their kids' classrooms. They can't find out what their children are learning. They don't get to decide, in some school districts, St. Mary's, whether or not their children wear masks or not. By the way, I was here by invitation to Dale back in October. How many of you guys were at the high school in the gymnasium at that hearing, at that meeting? I left that meeting, I was completely floored. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, there are like over 300 people here who are just fit to be tied. And the school board just, yes, they ended up voting to end the mask mandate, but that wasn't the point. I don't think the board really understood the point. The thing is, that was never their decision to make in the first place. That was always the parents' decision. And that's where we've gone wrong, is we've stopped letting parents be the deciders. And yes, the Department of Education has changed too. It's more concerned about what's happening in school districts than it is concerned about helping parents do whatever it is they need to do to support their kids. And that's the wrong approach. And that's actually one of the first things we're going to change I'm going to change as your state superintendent, is we're going to completely change the paradigm. We're going to be focused on what parents need. We're going to take 12 to 14 positions out of the office in Boise and place them in regional offices throughout the state of Idaho, so we can provide you direct support for things that are going on in your community. Yeah. Because we actually need, if we actually believe in being conservatives, and let's be really clear, as John already mentioned, yeah, I used to be a Democrat. That's the blue line. That's why I said all those nice things before. But here's the thing. I was always conservative, and the older I've gotten, the more conservative I've gotten, which is not unusual for a lot of people. But here's the thing, we've got to decide, what are we going to do with this? And I look at the situation we have right now, and I just think we've got to change things. And so one of the ideas of being able to lead as a conservative is to govern as a conservative, right? Like we don't govern as conservatives right now. We see Republicans who are elected who are increasing the size of government in their offices. That's not how conservatives are supposed to work. I've made a commitment that my office will have less employees and have a smaller budget by the time I start my first day in my office as it will be the last day of my first term. I made that commitment today. And I've made that commitment many, many times. Why? Because that's what conservatism is supposed to be. We can do more with less, right? There has to be waste there. We know that it exists. But people are so much more interested in being kingdom builders than they are acting as living out their conservative ideals. It's problematic. And so that's why I want to bring these offices to the regional areas so that way they can provide support to you. And if you've got things going on in your local community, you've got somebody there that can help you out. Because that's what we're supposed to be there. We're supposed to be there to serve families. We're supposed to be there to serve taxpayers. My campaign's focusing really on three primary policy issues. The first is that we need to end Common Core for real. Amen. Not just say that we ended Common Core. I got in a little verbal altercation with a current superintendent on Tuesday in the debate. We had how many of you guys have seen any of our publicized TV debates yet? So there was two. There was one on PBS on Monday, then the NBC affiliate in Boise KTVB had one on Tuesday. I really encourage you to watch it, because I think it really helps distill what's happening in this campaign quite well. But on Tuesday, Superintendent Ibarra just kept pushing this lie that we've ended Common Core. And I'm kind of a stickler for truth. So I turned to her and I said, Superintendent Ibarra, that's just not so. Quit lying to Idaho families. And she looked at me and she said, well, I'm going to tell you like I tell my third graders, that you don't get to interrupt, it's not your turn. And I said, look, they cut my mic. But I said to her, you will not speak to me that way. You will not be speaking condescendingly to me. I have just as much right to be on this stage as you do. You're not better than me just because you have a certificate to teach. And that's where that stopped. But the point is, we've got people that are lying to you. And how many of us are tired of being lied to by the people that we're electing? The people whose salary we're paying. You should expect, if nothing else, you should expect those people to be honest and to tell you the truth. Even when they tell you things that you don't want to hear. Right? And I get up on these stages and I have all sorts of opportunities to speak, which I'm grateful for, but I never come up here to try to make a friend. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to tell you what I believe. And if you agree, that's awesome. And if you don't, that's okay, because I'm not here to try to please anyone. I'm here to please the Lord. And I believe I'm trying to speak what He wants me to speak. And the same thing was true with her, and it just frustrated me so much. So the second issue that I care a lot about is stopping social justice indoctrination. So in my debate on Tuesday night at KTVB, which is a liberal station, one of the panelists decided to get in an argument with me about what CRT was. But here's what happened. She asked me what my definition of it was, which I gave to her. And I said, yes, it's happening in Idaho. And she says, no, it's not. And by the way, you didn't define it right. And she said what the definition was. And she cut me off and she wouldn't let me respond. And I thought, well, this is exactly why conservatives don't like to go on these stations, is because they do crap like this. But I sat there and I thought, you know what? I'm going to get a chance to say something later. And I'm just going to wait for her to open the door. Because I'm a smart guy most of the time. And she said, Branden, you're really controversial on Twitter. You say a lot of bold and controversial things. And I'm like, yeah, I do, because the Bible tells me I'm supposed to speak boldly. And I said, the other reason we have to speak boldly is because we have liberal trolls like you on Twitter who tell us that we don't know what CRT is. So sometimes it's about keeping your powder dry and using the opportunities you have. Here's the point. We have CRT in our schools, folks. We have to have a real policy to stop it. And what I've proposed is using the State Board of Education Policy 3B to create a cause of action to terminate any K-12 instructor or post-secondary faculty member who chooses to continue to try to indoctrinate our kids. They're going to be terminated. Woo! That's how you stop this stuff. Passing a weakly worded concurrent resolution or passing a weakly worded bill that doesn't have an enforcement mechanism is not how you stop these things. You have to be able to put people's money where their mouth is, and if you want to continue to try to indoctrinate our kids, you can go find someplace else to teach. That's it. The third thing that I really care a lot about is school choice. I believe we have to have money follow students to whatever school their parents want them to go to. It's not just enough to tell people that parents that we respect them or that we trust them. You have to put money in their hands. You have to give them. So here's the thing. There's two sides of this coin. There's authority and there's responsibility. Parents have not been living up to their responsibility. Number one, let's be honest with each other. A lot of parents aren't doing their job. The second thing is we're not giving them the authority they need to have to be able to do their job. So I think if we raise the bar and we tell them this is where we want you to get to, they'll do it. Most of them will. But we have to give them the resources. We have to equip them with the resources they need to make that happen. And I believe in that. I feel very strongly about that. So we've got a plan that you could actually look at if you really wanted to. It's on my website, durstfrido.com/EPEA. It stands for the Empower Parents in Education Act. It would transform Idaho education, and it would make us a national leader in school choice and parental rights. It's something I believe very strongly in, and I think that we should get done. But let me just close by saying this. I have been so honored in this campaign, and I don't know if we have many more of these events left to do. I don't think we do. And I just want to make sure that I take the opportunity to say up here how grateful I am that so many of you and those of you in this area have given me the chance to speak, and the support that I'm receiving. It really humbles me a lot. And what I can promise to you is I will always be accessible. I leave my phone number on my card. I mean, how crazy is that? You can call me. Literally, my personal cell phone number is on my stuff I hand out to tens of thousands of people. I will always be accessible. I am who I am. You know, I was a Democrat, but you had to have Saul before you had Paul. Right?
So was Reagan.
Yeah, so was Reagan, so was Trump. And I believe in this with every ounce of my being. I don't say things, like I said, to try to get applause lines or to try to ingratiate myself with people. I say them because they're heart convictions. And I truly believe that there are things that are happening right now that we are not seeing. I believe we're in a church. I'm an AG guy. I used to go to Assembly of God Church. I believe there's things happening in the spiritual realm right now that many of us aren't even seeing. But I believe there's an awakening happening in the United States, and I believe it's happening here in Idaho. We've got phenomenal conservative candidates who believe that God can do great things, and we're trusting on Him to do great things. And so I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be a part of that. And thank you for believing in me. I really appreciate it, and I will assure you that I will be there for you when you need me to be, and I will fight for you. Thank you.